Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. So we'll go right back to the staff over at the Bengal Tiger and have Billy on to talk a little recruiting. Billy, how are you, sir?
Doing well. How about you?
Doing very well. This used to be the time of year where it was a fever pitch. You're looking at 30 guys trying to sign 25. Who's announcing? When's the ceremony? When's the facts coming in? None of that really the case anymore. That's most of that hay's in the barn in December. But all eyes kind of for LSU on one player, and that's Terry Bussey. I think most are familiar with the story, but for those that need a little refresher here, just kind of go through the process, I guess, the last 4 months of the Terry Bussey saga.
Yeah, a saga is a good way to put it. Terry's a really quiet young man who's been through a lot in his life and is from small East Texas town of Timpson. And over the summer, he was headed towards a college decision and was probably going to pick A&M then, and Texas A&M that is. And then he wanted to take it into the fall a little bit, take some official visits, and he took Alabama, he took LSU, and then ultimately at the end of September committed to the Aggies, kind of as a lot of people expected throughout the process. But LSU is really stuck with this one. Frank Wilson, Sherman Wilson are among the guys that have really stayed on him throughout, even with the coaching changes happening at LSU. And then Texas A&M had their coaching change, and they brought in a staff that, had to restart kind of recruiting him for some of them. And then they kept some of the existing staff in different roles as well. And then Georgia has kind of popped up here late with Travaris Robinson leaving Alabama to go to Georgia. But really this appears right now to be a two-team race between LSU and Texas A&M. Georgia's in there, but there's not many people that think he ends up picking the dogs and going that far from home, especially. But he's one of the most explosive prospects in the country. I mean, this is a guy that ran a 10,800 meter earlier last spring now, and he ran it on a torn meniscus. And so he is a really tough kid too. He's lost his mom and his sister, and so they're not with us anymore, unfortunately. But he's really just kept a good attitude about his life and how hard he works at football and basketball. And he's got a lot of different people, I'm sure, pulling at him to make a decision here, and there's some thought that he might end up sticking with the Aggies, but LSU's certainly in there and trying to push here.
You mentioned the explosiveness. I see him listed as an athlete by a lot of the services. What type of player is he, and where does he project on the field?
Yeah, so he plays quarterback for Timpson, but also he did end up playing a little bit more in the secondary this year than even a lot of people thought. He did it all. I believe he ended up being Mr. Texas football, and I could be wrong, but he might have won it as a junior and a senior, which is pretty tough to do in that state. But so he's played all over for Timpson, and then ends up at the next level having the decision to make, probably between wide receiver and defensive back. And LSU has pitched him on playing anywhere in the secondary, nickel, safety, corner. He's actually a little bit bigger than people realize. He's probably about 195 pounds from what I heard, in a good way. And he's just built really well. So he can play any position in the secondary, which is what LSU would want him to do. And he's somebody that has played enough that he can probably factor in a little bit early on just with his athleticism. And I mean, I went and saw him in the playoffs a couple times this season, and he played a little bit of defense in both games, and I believe he had a pick six, or if not, it was a long interception return. He just read it, just quickly, just nabbed it and returned it. And so he's got some natural instincts when it comes to the secondary, but he's also somebody that has averaged 14.1 yards per carry his junior year. He's always making explosive plays with the ball in his hands. I think he set a state record for a state championship game for the longest touchdown run in a state championship game. So we're tied at one of the two, but he's just a really impressive athlete. But for LSU, he's somebody that they see in the secondary.
He's remained committed to Texas A&M throughout all of this. I realize that word is probably not exactly accurate when you're talking about recruiting, because he's visiting a bunch of other schools. I don't know how strong that commitment is, but is that give the Aggies the upper hand here because he hasn't backed off of that?
There's some thought to that for sure. As you kind of go through it, you see LSU, being able to flip multiple Texas A&M commits, some in state, some like a Weston Davis who is from Texas. But there's also some thought where Terry is, just if you told Terry you wanted to play X position, he would play it because you're the coach, and he's just going to do what he's told. And there is a sense maybe that not wanting to disappoint people in his corner and around Timpson, and flip or go back on his word, so to speak, even though the staff has changed. There's kind of some thought to that, but I don't know. He's got a really hard decision to make, because I do think he really likes what LSU has presented him with, especially being able to play early and the pitch from Corey Raymond when they got together in terms of development, and then how Blake Baker wants to use him. But he's just, I don't know. There's just kind of a sense of, all right, he's stayed committed. He hasn't ever, really talked about backing off his commitment. So when it comes down to signing, will he go through with flipping to an LSU or maybe even a Georgia?
So what's the plan for him on signing day? Is there a big ceremony? Do they have an announcement time? Is he streaming somewhere? What are we looking for on signing day from Terry Bussey?
Yeah, as of now, and I'll look one more time on Twitter here, but I have not seen any sort of announcement time just yet. We're still trying to nail that down as far as when he'll make his final announcement and things like that. But he is expected to make it on Wednesday, so that we're just kind of waiting and seeing to see what the plan is around Timpson for his ceremony, which I don't know. You mentioned in the early lead up that now it's kind of the National Sign Day buzz has kind of been lost because so many guys sign early. But when you have a 5-star and that's the only one that you're left tracking, it's kind of like, I wish you had other guys to take some of the attention off of what's going on.
No doubt about it. Dominick McKinley set to sign as well. Any issues for LSU there, or that one's as close to the finish line as it can be?
Yeah, no issues there. Bo Davis being hired really sealed that one up for LSU. If there was any doubt to begin with, that was just what his mom told us when they got done with their official visit to LSU. It was, kind of a celebration that they hired Bo Davis, and somebody that they had a good relationship with throughout the process, but obviously wasn't at LSU before then. So, all is good there with Dom. He'll sign on Wednesday, and he's gonna, be somebody that LSU is gonna hope can come in and contribute right away, because they need the help on the defensive line, and if he can step in and gain the right weight over the summer, maybe you can see some snaps, because he's got tons of athleticism and explosiveness to make a push early.
Lock it in for National Signing Day. You want all the information on Terry Bussey, you can find it over at the Bengal Tiger, part of the On3 Network. Shay Dixon doing a great job over there, and our guest Billy Embody doing the same. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Anytime.
Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.